Tabletop Tim here, reminding you all that actions have consequences. Naming no names, dear and Daniel. Things will happen, bad things, if you steal from my haberdashery. Yes, that's right. It was my haberdashery that he stole from, and that is why I'm like this. Anyway, thanks to our patrons, Hedwig, Carlo, and a socialist hobgoblin. You're in my good book. For now.
Hello and welcome to the Probably Bad Podcast, a podcast which is definitely bad. I'm Pencil.
I'm Paper. Today's Probably Bad RPG idea is a superhero game where you all play the love interests. The average session consists of being kidnapped and rolling to struggle until the heroes show up.
I think you need to go full, Silver Age comic. Because the love interest in those got completely arbitrary powers every, other issue. Oh no, now Lois Lane's a giant turtle.
See, this is the sort of thing I was thinking. Or some things happened to Iron Man, and then his girlfriend, whose name I don't remember, it's a long time since I've watched the Marvel
Pepper
film.
Potts. I feel
Yeah,
vaguely embarrassed I remembered that off the top of my head.
That ridiculously named woman, steals an Iron Man suit and goes to save the day along with her book club.
That ridiculously named woman can be the name of the RPG. The thing is, so most superhero girlfriends have, held the superheroic mantle at least once. I know Pepper Potts has. I think Jane Foster, his Thor's girlfriend, has. So, you could just basically do oh no, the superheroes are down. It's time for the love interests to get superpowers again. They can just sit around and wait until it happens. And then they can go in and save the day.
See, I don't know a lot about comic books or that whole genre really these days. I feel like I should have picked a different idea because what you're saying is that this exists.
Yes. What I'm saying is that basically, if you're in a superhero comic, you will get superpowers. That's just going to happen at some point. And if you're not the main guy, your powers will go away after an episode or an issue. But you're going to get powers eventually. I think the other alternative is you have your superhero world,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not focused on the whole. Oh no, Doctor Doom is trying to steal the ocean. You're focused on reporting and investigating and so forth. It's a detective noir thing and it's set in a superhero world.
You're
Jessica,
suggesting some sort of detective comic.
I am indeed suggesting a detective comic.
It'll never catch on.
Need a Marvel to pull this off. But so what it would be you'd just be Lois Lane. You'd all be playing Lois Lane. And yeah, you're just investigating all the superhero villains with reporting skills as opposed to shooting lasers out of your eyes.
See, I do like that. Is like being the one guy at the press conference that's asking Bruce Wayne like, "Hey, when the bad guy arrived, you disappeared. Is there something you want to tell us? Like, did you know this was going to happen?"
I mean, to be fair, if a bad guy appeared, I would probably disappear. If the Joker walked in, I would probably leave the room.
But he disappears every time. Does he know these things are going to happen? Is this some sort of insurance scam?
Is Bruce Wayne the Joker?
That's the real question we need to investigate with this Mutants and Masterminds game.
Yeah, you are trying to investigate whether Bruce Wayne is the Joker. Builds into my general desire for a working class Batman. He doesn't have infinite money, but what he does have is a wrench. He could recruit all
The thing is, I think a working class Batman, so a working class person whose parents are killed and is raised by a family friend and then goes around beating people up. Generally, that's just referred to as a thug, is the problem.
No, because he's wearing a bat suit is the difference.
A weird thug.
Fathers
I
for
mean,
justice.
that's all most superheroes are.
Yeah.
They're just attractive or rich, so people are like, oh yeah. What I'm saying is, I'm kind of on J. Jonah Jameson's side.
Yeah, this
Like, you
blog.
can't just go around beating people up because you're wearing a weird costume.
Yeah, you will get bonus content if you send us pictures of photos of Spider-Man. They do have to be actual photos of actual Spider-Man.
Mm.
Yeah, so if we discount, so yeah, glossing over the fact that Mod Paper is in fact J. Jonah Jameson in disguise, as we all saw coming. Like, I guess, like, you're tracking down, Wayne Corp, and they're like, they sure are funding a lot of money into bat-themed assault weapons. That seems odd.
I quite like the idea of a game that's almost like if you're running a Mutants and Masterminds game, but you have a second game group
Hmm.
who are investigating and trying to find out the secret identities of all of these superheroes.
Yeah.
Because the problem with doing it with stuff like Batman,
Is everyone knows who Batman is.
yeah. But if it's made up superheroes,
Hmm.
then they've got secret identities that no one outside of your game group knows.
I like the idea of a murder mystery. So you go to like a party, with a bunch of like presumably rich people,
Mhm.
and then one of them gets laser-eyed, and you need to determine who did it, and by extension, which of these people is famous superhero Eye Laser Man's secret identity. Eye Laser Man did not think very hard before coming up with a name.
See, I thought that Eye Laser Man was going to be a villain, but you're suggesting that the person that got eye lasered at the party, in according to some logic, would deserve to be eye lasered.
I mean, that would
versus
be the
villain.
other thing is, why has Eye Laser Man turned evil? Has Eye Laser Man turned evil? And also, who is Eye Laser Man? Unless you need to do all this without getting eye lasered.
Yeah, maybe Eye Laser Man was a hero, and then eye lasered this guy that everyone thought was great. And
Yeah.
as you're digging, you find out that this guy actually wasn't that great, and Eye Laser
Mm.
Man is still a hero.
You can have like multiple twists and turns over, was Eye Laser Man a good guy, or has Eye Laser Man snapped? Did Eye Laser Man tweet problematic things the day before the attack? We don't know.
We don't know because we don't know who Eye Laser Man is. We need to
Hey,
find out his secret identity so we can find his social media.
any one of these tweets could have been sent by Eye Laser Man.
If we find Eye Laser Man's Tumblr, we will know who he has called out.
You are a group of detectives investigating Superman in order to cancel him.
You say detectives, I say very committed bread tubers.
To be fair, I do like Bread Tube. But also, you're very committed bread tubers and you need to check if Superman is problematic is sure an idea.
Well, like I said, you need to find Eye Laser Man's Tumblr
Yeah, Eye Laser Man.
so you can check what tags he follows, I guess.
Yeah, Eye Laser Man, who bears no resemblance to any existing superheroes. Yeah, the alternative thing, going back to the original idea rather than this murder mystery which has turned into like a critique of Twitter activism. No, I think I'm going to stay with the murder mystery way, which turned into a critique of Twitter activism, because I would like to be cancelled too, apparently.
But the actual idea where you play the love interests who are presumably completely mundane and have been kidnapped,
Yeah.
I also quite like as an origin story.
Mm.
Well, you get kidnapped, you escape, and you go, okay, we need to train up and become super good at punching and kicking so we can take down villains because the heroes aren't always going to save us.
Okay, you're kidnapped, but due to budget constraints, you're held in a gym, and so you need to work out as much as possible before the villain returns.
So does this have like a time limit on it? Like there's a 10 candles aspect to it.
Yeah, it's like each round you can either eat, rest to sort of keep your morale up, or get hench, and you need to sort of like govern your time.
These are the 3 actions.
Yeah, you can possibly put in more, but like, yeah. So you need to govern your time between those. 'Cause obviously, you don't want to burn out or starve to death,
Hmm.
but also you want to be really strong for when the supervillains arrive.
But you also need to be well rested when the supervillains arrive.
Yeah,
'Cause
otherwise you'll just be tired.
if you've just been working out and then the supervillains show up, you're not going to be very good at punching and kicking them.
Hmm. Yeah. Like, yeah, so day 1, you're imprisoned in a gym. Day 2, you're imprisoned in like a weapons training lab. And then day 3, you're imprisoned in just a room full of random radioactive materials, and you can try rubbing them on your face to see if they give you superpowers. Yeah, I feel like if it's just a gym, yeah, because if it's just a gym, then you can do like you can have one action to work out your like lower muscles, your legs, and another action to work out your upper body.
Roll for leg day.
Yes, exactly. And that way you can choose whether you want to focus on just kicks or just punches, or whether you want a more balanced, like.
Well, if each of you trains one limb, maybe you could hold yourselves together like some sort of human pyramid Voltron.
You are superhero. You are superhero love interest. You've been kidnapped, and your only solution is muscle Voltron.
I mean, I would be afraid of muscle Voltron.
I guess yeah. If I opened a door and I would just like 6 people, each with like an incredibly muscular limb, or incredibly muscular torso in the middle, or incredibly muscular head on the top, and they just started swinging each other. One of you is focusing on like head muscle exercises.
So 5 of you are there exercising either your limbs or your core, and one person's just there like reading classic literature.
No, I mean like they're lifting things with their eyebrows.
Tiny little dumbbells.
Yeah, they've got tiny little dumbbells on their eyeballs and tongue. It's
The
a very
world's heaviest earrings. The exercise is to just stand up.
yeah, it's a very well stocked gym.
I mean, if you're there long enough, you're gonna start messing about.
Yeah.
Just improvise.
So yeah, I mean this almost feels like some kind like an bonus RPG system.
Would that be a Patreon bonus RPG
A
system?
Patreon bonus RPG system, which we are now offering to people who spend more than 20 quid on our Patreon.
Great plug.
You too can become a muscle Voltron. But yeah. You'd have different superhero villains who have like one supervillain wears a metal helmet, so they're resistant to punches because you just punch the metal helmet. But like they don't have a lot of armor on their legs, so you can kick them really easily.
I hate when I forget to put on my anti-kick armor.
Yeah, I mean, supervillains dress weirdly.
It's like that nightmare where you show up to school with no trousers on. Like, oh, I've shown up to the fight without my leg armor. So
Yeah,
embarrassed.
like yeah, the sort of most difficult villain is just like a bundle of legs, so they can kick really easily and they've got nothing to punch.
I'm just imagining the Isle of Man flag, but with armor.
Yeah.
There's a reference none of our non-UK listeners will have to look up.
I hope you enjoyed this learning experience we gave you.
So questions.
I'm Hazel, and I present the Bread and Thread podcast with Liz, also known as Paper from Probably Bad. Bread and Thread is a podcast about food history and domestic history and generally social history. We delve into a lot of different things. So if you'd like to know which country has laws against importing sheep, what cookbook will tell you how to make a great martini and also how to survive a nuclear bomb attack, or why you are using a fork right now, then come over to Bread and Thread and give us a listen. You can find us on Spotify or wherever else podcasts are. I don't know.
Yes. Our first question is from Andromeda Can't Adult. So I don't remember where, but I saw a post about a character that's a sentient hat piloting a mannequin. My sister and I want to try and make it work. So far, all my sister and I have come up with is a changeling with a spell telekinesis. Any other ideas?
I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is just an awakened hat.
Yeah, with the ability to cast animate objects.
Yeah. But I feel like that is the coward's way out.
If you use magic jar, and use a hat for the jar, and then you can just possess the mannequin. This does require the mannequin has a soul, but I feel this is a good way to inform your players that all mannequins in your setting are sentient. Like they can't move, but they are all fully sentient.
This is creeping back into last episode.
Time is a circle. Or I guess the other way you can do it is magically create a construct that is a mannequin. And then your mind is in the hat, and you telepathically send command words to it. Which also means mannequin might be able to do cool things like shoot acid clouds, or make people bleed, or go out of control and go on a murderous rampage.
I mean, I'm assuming that this is D&D, so it
Yeah.
would be kind of weird if the mannequin didn't at some point gain magical powers.
Yeah. What you need to do is you make a mannequin, but you just make it out of magic items. Which is, I think, a monster in D&D 3rd edition.
But when you say make it out of magic items, I assume you're not just talking sentient armor. Is this going to be like staffs for legs and things?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's got
there is.
fingers, but they're just 10 different ones of fireball.
Yeah. Instead of a head, it's got a potion of healing.
If it falls over, it spills and it dies.
Yeah.
Except that it's got a hat that holds in the liquid. It's a waterproof hat.
It's a symbiotic relationship. Okay, so here's my. Sorry?
A symbiotic relationship between a magical mannequin and a magical hat is sure something.
Yeah. The other idea I just came up with is you're a mimic. And you mimic yourself into a little hat. And the mannequin puts the hat on, and then you just mimic tentacles down to wrap around the mannequin's arms and legs, and you walk around like that.
Okay, like a mimic exoskeleton.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a lot more obvious to people maybe trying to see if
I
you're
mean,
an actual person.
it doesn't specify that it's hiding that they're a sentient hat piloting a mannequin.
True, I guess it felt implied, but maybe that's just my own prejudice.
I mean, it's the D&D world. There's elves and goblins and trolls and stuff going around. A meat mannequin isn't arguably elves and dwarves and trolls are just meat mannequins,
Aren't we all just meat mannequins?
Yeah. And you can still talk because you just open up the hat in a little friendly mouth.
I feel like the posts that this was inspired by must have been about Super Mario Galaxy.
I have never played it, but all I know it is canon that Mario is in fact just some random person being controlled by a hat.
Well, the thing is, I think in Super Mario Galaxy, it seems to be that Mario and his hat are both sentient and have similar goals,
Yee.
but also the hat can possess things.
Hmm.
But maybe it's Mario that's the mimic because he vanishes when the hat possesses something.
Yeah. So what it is you go up and so you think, okay, so the mannequin's sticky, but the hat is the hat's the mannequin, so I just avoid touching that. And then you grab the mannequin, and the mannequin is sticky, and then the mannequin just sort of reaches, pours itself around you as the hat falls to the ground.
Mario is the exoskeleton
Yeah,
controlled by the sentient hat, which
yeah.
clearly has the soul of some great and terrible sorcerer inside it.
I mean, same. I think the other alternative is if you do want to hide it. So you're the mimic. You're on top of the mannequin. Instead of wrapping around it, you just send tentacles down through the mannequin, so it's on the inside. So people look at it and go, it's just a mannequin wearing a hat. And then the mannequin lunges at them because they don't
Yeah,
realize
when
it has
when I
muscles.
mentioned the hiding thing, I think I did forget about clothes as
Yes, you
well.
could you could also wear clothes. There's a probably bad RPG idea. Put on clothes. Stop showing up to things as a mannequin. The other alternative is that you're a wizard. You cast invisibility,
Mhm.
and you just stand behind the mannequin in such a way that your hat, which is magically made so it's still visible, looks like it's on the mannequin's head as you move it with your arms and legs.
So you tapered off there a little bit.
You're standing behind a mannequin invisibly, and you've just got the hat. You can still see the hat because that's invisible. No, sorry, that's been magically made so it is visible. But you're just grabbing its arms and legs and making it do a little dance. I feel the mannequin's the
Is this
best.
like a forced perspective thing where they assume that the hat's on the mannequin,
Yeah,
even though it's behind it?
like
Because where else would the hat be?
because my assumption is as a wizard, you're probably good at magic tricks.
So you're invisible. Maybe your hat is also invisible, but you cast minor illusion of a hat on top of the mannequin,
Yeah,
just to make it make sense to people watching.
you could. I feel you could do a lot of these with just illusions. Yeah, maybe magically animate a mannequin is the easiest way, but I still prefer my mimic exoskeleton.
Well, just magically animating a mannequin doesn't fulfill the sentient hat controlling it part.
I mean, you could be a sentient hat. These are weird setting.
So you play an awakened hat, which is cast animate on a mannequin, and
Yes.
just rides around on top like a horse.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I feel like what we need is all of these people in one party.
I would enjoy that very much.
Yeah. I feel we've answered that question to a degree beyond what people wanted us to answer.
And
So,
I was just wondering if you could create some sort of cursed magic item that's almost like a phylactery,
yeah.
where like when someone puts on the hat, the soul that's within the hat can control it.
So I just jumped to okay, so I'm a lich. I make out my phylactery a hat. And then you put the hat on the mannequin as a haha, isn't this cute? And then the hat mannequin just turns into a lich.
But it turns into almost like a clone of you because you've both got your soul inside.
Yeah. What it is you put on a hat, and then the lich is in your mind, but you're still there, so you just have to form a relationship with this lich that shares your body sometimes.
Every time you want to do something or don't want to do something the lich wants you to do, you do have to make a wisdom save.
I think if there's multiple liches in the hat, um, then it's just a democracy, and you all do a vote.
Ah, the fabled hat of lich party.
Yeah, I think on Lich Democracy.
Like, is
Don't
this
forget-
just a really roundabout way of creating clones?
Yeah, a roundabout and ineffective way, yes. Like, okay, so it's a hat, and you put the hat on, and if you do, it becomes your phylactery. You're now a lich. And anything that else you put the hat on, you jump into that body. You don't know this until something else puts the hat on.
You get home after a hard day's work, liching, you
Mm.
put your hat on a hat stand.
Now
Now
you're a
you
hat
are a
stand.
sentient hat stand.
Yeah. You take the hat off and you immediately the entire atmosphere.
Put it on the ground, become the world.
This is a very powerful magical item.
It's also incredibly inconvenient, and I feel like
Yeah.
that balances it out.
It can give you incredible cosmic power, but at the cost of being really, really annoying. Like my magical sword that is incredibly powerful but won't stop singing Living La Vida Loca.
That is a bop, though.
Yeah, so yeah, the hats. Yeah, so you are a powerful lich with a sword singing Living La Vida Loca and a hat that will randomly possess hat stands. You've got your mimic and you got your invisible wizard and you've got your like animated mannequin, and now you're ready to go fight heroes.
Perfect. So our second question is anonymous. You asked it on Twitter, but how would your first and current characters get on?
Oh,
I did answer this when I posted it. But basically they would get on great because a little grandma gnome ranger and a tiefling paladin who kind of is out of their depth. I feel like they just go on great adventures together.
So my first character was an highly academic orc who had just graduated Orc University. I didn't have much of a personality beyond that. My current character is a conspiracy theorist in like a not a hunter, the monster of the week setting, who is continuously investigating monsters and runs a podcast. I'm playing What I Know. And yeah, I think they get on reasonably well. Mostly like would end up posting a lot of photos of, hey guys, I found an orc. Believe in the supernatural, you fucks. There's vampires everywhere.
See, now I'm curious because you're also in a Monster of the Week game that I'm running.
Oh yes, I am.
Now I'm curious how your Monster of the Week characters would get along.
Okay, so my other Monster of the Week character is a crimey McBurglar person who stole a magical artifact and wants to and like is trying to hide the fact they stole a magical artifact because supernatural people would like their magical artifact back. But also, magical artifacts really neat. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't get on because my conspiracy theorist would be continuously trying to ask questions about what the magical artifact is and where it came from, and then would possibly end up stabbed. Yeah, I think they'll probably get to fisticuffs. And by fisticuffs, I mean shooting.
Yeah, I was gonna say you say stabbed, but your character in my game is more guns than knives.
Yeah. I feel like my character, given they are in the UK, possibly needs to stop shooting at things. But you know,
I mean, you've shot very little so far,
that is true. I need to work on this.
although possibly not in this arc because you are hunting a kelpie, and I'm not sure how well that would go for you.
For every new patron, I will shoot someone in Paper's campaign. You won't have any way of verifying this, but I will shoot a random NPC.
Is this what's gonna happen when I bring back Nigel?
Yeah. Nigel is the NPC we've inexplicably decided we hated.
You've decided you hate him, but also slightly adopted him as a campaign mascot.
Yeah. Like
Which,
all
considering he showed up for about 10 minutes in one session.
Look, the primary trait of mascots is that they're horrifying and everyone wants to punch them in the face.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
And, you know, the whole point of a mascot is, hi, cheer for our sports team or the mascot will get you.
I had always wondered what they were there for. I'm glad to have that clarified.
Yeah, like, so you're sat there and they're like, hey, do you like sport? You're like, no, not really. And then they release the mascot into the stands. And so you start cheering because you don't want the mascot to wear your skin.
And I was always slightly creeped out by mascots as a child. Maybe I was correct.
Yeah, like I have a very strong uncanny valley sort of like reflex. So, hello, person honking on our podcast.
Apologies for the fact I live on an A road.
Thank you for your contribution. But yes, anyway, my point is mascots are horrifying. I don't know how I got to this point,
Maybe that means that we should end the episode.
but I want another 2-hour rant about mascots. So the other thing I hate about mascots is the voices.
I've never met one with a voice. Anyway,
Only
yes.
I can hear them.
we we have a Patreon, which is probably bad RPG ideas. If you want access to a Discord server where we play one shots based on stuff from the podcast, and we do put that audio up on Patreon for free. We've just started doing that. If you want bonus episodes, if you want a homebrew, if you want weird short RPGs that Pencil and our editor Nick make, then go there and give us some money, please. If you have an idea or a question, you can contact us on Twitter at badprobably, on Tumblr at probablybadrpgideas, or email probablybadpodcast@gmail.com. That's a lot of information. Thank you.
Remember to have
Remember
a
to have a probably
day.
bad day.